right, if you've got your sights set on a top consulting job, you really need to pay attention because the entire game has just been flipped on its head. McKinsey has made a massive shift in its recruiting timeline, and we're going to break down exactly what that means for you, and most importantly, how to get your resume in perfect shape for this new, much earlier deadline. So let's just dive right in. Okay, let's get straight to it. March 29th. This is the date. You need to circle it on your calendar, highlight it, put a giant sticky note on your mirror, whatever it takes. This is the new application deadline for McKinsey's U.S. undergraduate internships. It is coming up so fast, which means, you guessed it, there's absolutely zero time to waste. All right, first up, the new recruiting clock. And believe me, McKinsey has just changed the game. Let's unpack what's going on here. So what's behind this massive shift? Well, it's all about competition. McKinsey is basically aligning its whole recruiting timeline with investment banking, and they're moving everything up by months. They're going head-to-head with the banks to snap up the best talent, and that means the race is starting way, way earlier than ever before. And look at this. You can really see just how dramatic this change is. The old way, you'd apply midsummer, interview late summer. That's completely gone. Totally thrown out the window. Now we're talking about applications happening in the spring of your sophomore year, with interviews wrapped up before summer even kicks off. It's a whole new ballgame. So who's really feeling the heat from this? Well, if you're a sophomore, you basically have to start prepping in January or February. But get this, for one-year master's students, it's even crazier. You might have to apply before your program even starts. Yeah, you heard that right. And don't make the mistake of thinking this is just a McKinsey thing. The whole industry is watching, and you can bet that BCG and Bain are going to follow suit. This is the new normal. Okay, so we know the what and the why. Now let's get to the how. Section 2. The 30-second first impression. We're going to talk about making your resume absolutely unforgettable, because with that new deadline breathing down your neck, your resume is everything. It's your golden ticket. 30 seconds. That's it. That is literally the average amount of time a recruiter will spend on your resume. 30 seconds to convince them to keep reading or to toss it in the no pile. You've got to pass that initial eye test and make an instant, powerful impression. And what's the goal here? Well, this is it. This is it. This is the best resume I've ever seen. A direct quote from a McKinsey recruiter. Can you just imagine the edge you'd have if your resume got that reaction? We're not just talking about listing your jobs here. We're talking about creating a document that literally makes them say, wow. So how do you get that wow factor? It all starts with the look and feel. Think clean. Think readable. You need clear, distinct sections. You need plenty of white space so their eyes don't glaze over. Keep it concise. No long, rambling sentences. The whole point is that a recruiter can glance at it and boom, instantly get who you are and what you've accomplished. All right, you've got the look down. Now for the really important part, the substance. Section 3, writing bullets with impact. We're moving from just listing responsibilities to showing off your results. This is where the magic happens. It really boils down to two simple pillars for a killer bullet point. Pillar number 1. Start with a powerful action verb. Always. No passive stuff like was responsible for. And pillar number 2, and this is the big one, highlight the value you created. Don't just tell them what you did. Tell them what happened because you did it. What was the result? What was the impact? Okay, let's look at a quick before and after. The before. Responsible for analyzing weekly sales data. Kind of boring, right? It's just a duty. Now the after. Analyzed weekly sales data to identify key trends, leading to a 15% improvement in marketing ROI. See the difference? Bam, that's active. It shows what you did and the awesome result you got. That's what makes a recruiter's ears perk up. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what if I don't have fancy numbers like a 15% improvement? Hey, no problem. It's totally okay. You don't always need hard data. You can still show your value. You could focus on the qualitative impact. Talk about how you improved the organization or delivered successfully. The key is to always, always frame your work around the positive impact it had. Okay, moving on to the big picture. Let's talk structure. Section 4, structuring for success. You've really got to think of your resume as your one-page story. Every single section has a part to play in telling that story in the most powerful way. So here's a classic, tried and true structure that just works. You start with your contact info, obviously, then your education section that usually comes first, unless you have some crazy impressive work experience that needs to be front and center. After that, your work experience, then a skills section, for languages, coding, that kind of thing.
And finally, you can have some optional sections like interests or volunteering, but only if they actually add something valuable to your story.
All right, this leads us to a big one, a question that stumps so many people. Should you include your GPA?
The rule here is actually super simple. If your GPA is strong, show it off. Put it right there. If it's not so strong, just leave it out. No big deal. And honestly, that same logic applies to your entire resume. Remember, less is often more. You don't want to clutter the page with stuff that doesn't add real value. Cut anything that's not helping you make the case that you're an amazing candidate.
Okay, we are almost there. We've covered the new timeline, the look and feel, the killer content, and the structure. Now for the final polish. Section 5 is your pre-submission checklist. Before you even think about clicking apply, we're going to run through one last check to make sure this thing is absolutely perfect. So let's do a quick final review together. Ask yourself these questions. 1. Is it tailored specifically for consulting? 2. Is it crystal clear and easy to read in 30 seconds? 3. Does every single bullet start with a strong action verb? 4. Is the value you created just jumping off the page? And last but definitely not least, 5. Have you proofread it and then had someone else proofread it? Seriously, one little typo can sink the whole ship. And that brings us right back to the big final question. The clock is ticking. This new timeline is no joke. So take a good, hard look at your resume. Use everything we've talked about today and ask yourself honestly, is it ready for March 29th? Because in this